When Lee Marvin was in his final years, he shocked everyone around him with a confession. The tough guy actor, known for westerns and war films, finally opened up about something he had kept quiet for decades: the names of the 7 most evil actors he ever worked with or witnessed in the golden age of Hollywood. Lee Marvin was not the kind of man who exaggerated. His reputation was built on honesty, toughness, and a refusal to play Hollywood games. But toward the end of his life, he began revealing stories, dark stories, about behavior that most fans never knew happened behind the studio walls. Stories about men whose public images were clean and polished, but whose private actions were cruel, dangerous, or downright wicked. What pushed Lee to reveal these secrets? Those close to him said he hated hypocrisy. For years he watched fans worship certain Hollywood stars, never knowing how they really behaved. As Lee grew older, he felt a responsibility to set the record straight, not to destroy reputations, but to expose the truth. This chapter opens the door to a world of shadows behind the spotlight. In the next chapters, you're going to learn who these 7 evil actors were, what they did, and why Lee Marvin felt the world needed to know. But first, understand this: Lee didn't use the word evil lightly. These were not simple disagreements or personality clashes. These were names tied to cruelty, manipulation, violence, and in some cases, something even darker. And one name on Lee's list will shock you more than all the others. The story begins now. The first actor Lee Marvin exposed was someone everyone believed to be a sweetheart, a man with a charming smile, soft voice, and the reputation of being one of the most polite gentlemen of the golden age. But Lee revealed a much darker side. Behind the scenes, this actor had a temper that frightened directors, co-workers, and producers. Lee recalled moments on set where the actor would explode with rage with no warning. Props smashed, chairs kicked over, assistants verbally attacked, and after each explosion he would suddenly switch back to his sweet smile as if nothing had happened. Lee said the most disturbing part wasn't the anger, it was the control. This actor knew exactly when to turn his charm on and off, and he used that charm to manipulate everyone around him. He destroyed careers quietly, making calls to producers when someone upset him. Lee called him a silent weapon. Lee also mentioned a chilling moment. One night after filming, the actor cornered a young actress who was just starting out. Lee walked into the hallway at the right moment and stopped something bad from happening. The actor laughed it off, pretending it was all a misunderstanding. But Lee never forgot the look in his eyes. Hollywood never exposed this man. His legacy remains clean to this day, but to Lee Marvin, he was one of the most dangerous people he ever met. And yet, this was only the beginning. The next actor on Lee's list wasn't just manipulative, he was feared. The second evil actor Lee Marvin spoke about was someone studios protected at all costs. This man was a superstar, one of the biggest names of the golden age. His movies made so much money that studios would hide his crimes, erase his scandals, and silence anyone who spoke out. Lee said everyone on set lived in fear of him. He was known for unpredictable mood swings, drunken rages, and violent outbursts. Crew members whispered about his behavior, but no one dared complain. Studio contracts were iron cages. If you spoke against him, your career was finished. Lee described one night on location when this actor got into a fight in a bar. He seriously injured a man. The studio swooped in with lawyers, cash, and threats. By morning, newspapers printed a very different story, one that praised the actor's bravery and blamed the victim. Lee said what made this actor evil wasn't just the violence, it was the fact that he enjoyed the power. He bragged about being untouchable. He laughed at the studio executives who worked to clean up his messes. And anyone who challenged him, even slightly, was destroyed. Lee admitted he avoided working with him directly because he didn't trust himself to stay quiet. The actor insulted people for sport, especially those he viewed as beneath him. This one wasn't a secret to Hollywood insiders, but the public never saw it. Lee said if fans knew the truth, they'd never watch his films the same way again. But the next actor on the list, he was something even worse. a master manipulator who fooled an entire generation. Hollywood adored this actor for being the perfect gentleman. On screen, he was elegant, refined, and respected. Off screen, he was charming, until you disagreed with him. Lee Marvin said this man had a cold heart and treated people like disposable tools. What made him dangerous was his intelligence. He didn't shout, didn't get violent, didn't throw tantrums. No, his cruelty was quiet and calculated. He would invite young actors to dinner with promises of mentorship, only to humiliate them in front of others. He would smile politely while sabotaging careers behind closed doors. And worst of all, Lee revealed that this actor ran a private circle of influence, pressuring directors to cast or remove certain people based on his personal grudges. Lee recalled one event where a brilliant young actress landed a major role. She was excited, full of dreams, but when this actor discovered she had rejected his advances, he made one phone call. By the next morning, she was fired. Lee never forgave him for that. To the world, this actor was a symbol of class. To Lee, he was one of the coldest men he had ever met, someone who smiled while ruining lives. And yet the next person on the list would shock even seasoned Hollywood insiders. This actor was considered a hero until Lee revealed the truth. The fourth actor on Lee Marvin's list was celebrated as a national hero. He often played military leaders, brave cowboys, or noble men who stood for justice. Fans adored him. He represented strength and honor. But Lee's experience was very different. Lee explained that this actor was known to torment weaker co-workers. He mocked people with less fame than him and treated extras like they were invisible. He had a habit of flirting aggressively with actresses even when they clearly weren't interested. And because he was so beloved by audiences, no one dared challenge his behavior. Lee said he once saw this actor pressure a young actress during a rehearsal. She was uncomfortable, but the director refused to intervene. "He's a star," the director whispered. "We can't afford to lose him." Lee stepped in and shut it down. The actor never forgave him for it. But what shocked Lee the most was discovering a dark secret from this actor's past, one involving a violent incident long before he became famous. Studios buried it, reporters were paid off, and the actor went on to become an icon. Lee said the hero image was a lie. Behind the camera, he was selfish, cruel, and often drunk. But the next actor on the list wasn't just cruel. Lee said he was a nightmare to work with. The fifth actor on Lee Marvin's list was universally disliked by his co-workers, not because he was famous or talented, but because he made every set miserable. He was always late, always complaining, and always blaming others. If a scene went wrong, it was the director's fault. If the lighting looked off, he yelled at the crew. He treated makeup artists like servants and spoke to junior actors as though they were children. Lee called him a professional bully. This actor thrived on causing tension. He enjoyed starting arguments. He spread lies and rumors to divide cast members. Some directors refused to work with him again. But because he still sold movie tickets, studios kept hiring him. Lee mentioned one terrible incident. During a dramatic scene, this actor slapped a younger co-star much harder than the script required. When the director cut the scene and told him to take it easy, he laughed and said, "That kid needed to toughen up." Lee nearly walked off the set that day. What made this actor evil, according to Lee, was his complete lack of empathy. He simply didn't care who he hurt, as long as he got what he wanted. But even he wasn't the worst. The next actor had a darkness that startled even Lee Marvin. Of all the actors Lee Marvin described, this one was perhaps the most frightening. He was extremely charming, almost magnetic. Everyone liked him at first, but Lee quickly realized that the charm was a mask covering something far darker. Lee said this actor manipulated people with frightening skill. He could make anyone trust him, then use that trust to get what he wanted. He had a way of making people believe they owed him favors even when they didn't. Lee knew people who fell into his trap. One actor trusted him with a personal secret, only to see it leaked to newspapers. A young actress accepted his invitation to a private party and left traumatized. A director praised him publicly but confessed privately that he was terrified of crossing him. Lee said this actor's evil came from his ability to hide it so well. He smiles with his mouth, Lee said, but not with his eyes. Some people suspected him of being involved in scandals that were never solved. Rumors circulated through Hollywood's underground circles, but no proof ever emerged. This man played heroes, lovers, and fathers on screen. But in real life, Lee said he was colder than any villain he ever portrayed. And now we come to the final name, the one Lee Marvin said was the worst of all. Lee Marvin saved the most shocking name for last. This actor wasn't just cruel or manipulative. Lee believed he was genuinely dangerous. This man was an A-list superstar, known for rugged roles and intense performances. But behind the scenes, Lee said he had no moral limits. He carried weapons on set. He threatened co-workers. He bragged about violent encounters from his youth, treating them like trophies. Studio executives feared him, not because of his fame, but because they couldn't control him. Lee recalled a terrifying moment during a late-night shoot. This actor got into a fight with a cameraman over a lighting angle. Instead of arguing, he struck the cameraman so hard he needed medical treatment. The studio silenced the entire crew. Lee said what made him so evil was the influence he had. Young actors idolized him, fans adored him, and no one knew the truth. Lee believed if this actor had been born outside Hollywood, he would have become something far more dangerous. And yet, even after all these years, his reputation remains spotless. But our story doesn't end here, because Lee didn't just reveal names, he revealed why Hollywood protected them. Lee Marvin explained something disturbing. Hollywood didn't just tolerate these 7 actors, it protected them. Studios in the Golden Age were powerful. They controlled everything. Newspapers, contracts, publicity images, even the police at times. If a scandal threatened a major star, studios buried it instantly. Lee said these 7 actors knew they could get away with almost anything. That's what made them truly dangerous. Fame, money, and studio power formed a shield around them. Lee believed Hollywood wasn't built on glamour, it was built on cover-ups. He described how studio publicists would rewrite news stories, bribe reporters, and intimidate witnesses. Rumors of violence, assault, and manipulation disappeared overnight. Fans saw smiles, tuxedos, and perfect photos, but behind the curtain was fear. Lee also revealed that some directors privately warned newcomers, "Never be alone with him. Don't trust his compliments. If you see him angry, walk away." But nothing changed because the system was designed to protect stars, not the people around them. Lee spent years watching innocent people get hurt, while powerful actors walked free. This is why, near the end of his life, he decided to finally speak out. Despite his strength and tough reputation, Lee Marvin admitted he had one major regret: he stayed silent too long. He said he was young when he first entered Hollywood. He didn't understand how the system worked, and when he did understand, he felt trapped by it. Speaking out back then meant career suicide. He watched good people lose roles, lose hope, and sometimes lose everything because of the evil actors who held the power. Lee never forgot their faces. In one interview near his final years, Lee hinted that he wished he had confronted these men more strongly. He stood up when he could, but he admitted he could not stop everything. He also regretted that the truth stayed hidden from the fans. People worshipped actors who didn't deserve it. People trusted stars who were cruel behind closed doors. But Lee said something important. The screen never shows the whole story. He wanted people to understand that Hollywood wasn't just glamour and talent, it was also ego, corruption, and silence. And that leads us to the final chapter, the real reason Lee revealed these 7 names before he died. Lee Marvin decided to break his silence for one reason: truth should outlive lies. He believed that history shouldn't be written by studio executives, fake biographies, or publicists paid to polish reputations. He felt the world deserved honesty, especially about people who were praised as icons. Lee said he didn't want revenge. He didn't want to destroy anyone's legacy. What he wanted was balance, reality, truth. He wanted people to understand that you can love a movie without worshiping the actor behind it, that talent doesn't erase wrongdoing, that fame doesn't equal goodness. Before he died, Lee said, "I'm not exposing them to hurt Hollywood. I'm doing it because the truth has weight, and it shouldn't be buried." He believed future generations needed to know what really happened during the Golden Age, not just the glamorous version. Lee's revelations shook those who heard them. Some were shocked, some were angry, but all agreed on one thing: Lee Marvin had no reason to lie. His final words about the 7 evil actors became a rare window into the hidden world of old Hollywood, a world fans were never meant to see. And so the story ends here. But the truth Lee revealed, that will live forever.